Hi, we're taking our last look at the ultimate guide to vintage Star Wars action figures 1977 to 1985. We'll be taking a look at the playsets and vehicles for Return of the Jedi and Power of the Force. Here's another mini rig lower price point vehicle. At this point, they were making them look more Star Warsy and model them after something from the movies. This kind of looks, it has the same color scheme and sort of kind of look as the Bespin Cloud cars. So it looks kind of Star Wars-ish. It looks more like it belongs into this universe than those other weird designs where it's just a bunch of like big bubbly wheel vehicles. Here's a battle damaged Imperial TIE fighter looking a bit more blue here. As per the special effects shots in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, yeah, this particular version of the TIE fighter is fairly striking because of the color scheme. And I do like the battle damage, but this was a trend that they were doing with X-Wing fighters in particular. And here's a Chewbacca bandolier. You know, it's funny. I think this is the first time they did this for the Jedi line. They kind of missed that trick with the other lines. But it's yet another figure holder. But this one you can also wear like Chewbacca. It's pretty cool stuff. And here's the C-3PO case. The entire thing was vac metallized, so it was shiny. I have this. This pretty cool stuff. Is a great upgrade from the Darth Vader case, which was ubiquitous. And they made a Jedi Vader case as well. But this is cool. It was bigger. And it came with, of course, its own little chart that was die cut to suit the case itself. I really enjoyed this, actually. And I could just stare at this all day, like, you know, in person. It's pretty cool. The Ewok Village action playset was enormous, and it had, just like the other playsets, it was designed for play first, not necessarily for display, but it can display well as well. For play, it combined things from the movie, although I don't remember this boulder thing, but the net from the film, there's an elevator. This is a little hut where the Ewoks can dwell, and you can have Leia come out of one of these just like she did in the movie, like here and everything. Here's a cool shot with all the Ewoks. I think that's all the Jedi figures in one place. Here are all the pieces for it, so easily lost stuff, including the net. And here's the little palanquin that they use for C-3PO. And this, I think, is the elevator, but it can double for like a cage. And of course, you know, no mention of this playset can be complete without the fact that this was reused for Kenner's Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I was going to say Robin Hood Men in Tights, but Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves action figure line. They reused this. They reused something else from Power of the Force as well, which we'll get to. The Jabba the Hutt play set, so it comes with a Jabba the Hutt figure. I have this. You can find these hookah sets. They used to be $5. Now they're about $20. Someone, I don't know if they're manufacturing them or something like that, or 3D printing them, but you can find these at toy shows and stuff. There's Salacious Crumb. Here are the different color variants of Jabba the Hutt. Great figure, great idea, and you get two figures really for the price of one, and this cool little set. Jabba's sitting on top of this area, which I guess is meant to be the Rancor pit, but it's so shallow and he's sitting on it. And when you open it up, it's like dead bodies and stuff. It was a different time. There was like skeletons and whatnot, and like rats and vermin running around. It's almost as though he sits there and just poops into it, and that's his like little toilet there. Pretty disgusting, but it is Jabba the Hutt after all. It's a pretty cool set. It's cool to have a Jabba figure. They had to make one for this, you know, because he was one of the breakout stars of Return of the Jedi. Here's another variation of the Droid Factory, the Jabba the Hutt dungeon. So, of course, there's an area where they reconstruct or break apart robots in the movie. So that's what this is meant to be. Um, I don't know what this didn't really come with a lot of things. So it didn't come with stuff that you assemble and disassemble. But it did come with this crane and everything. And of course, you get the appropriate figures for it that were in that particular dungeon in the movie. Here are more mini rigs, and as I was saying before, the mini rigs look more and more like Star Wars designs, just like made smaller. So this is sort of like the Imperial shuttle, basically. Pretty cool. It's a little fighter. That's pretty neat stuff. Here's a Jedi vital case. So every line had these vital cases. This time the trays are red with red decals and another nice little chart. I love these little charts. They're so good. I would stare at those charts all day. I don't know where my Darth Vader one is, but I still have my C-3PO one. And I just look at them and look at them and look at them. It's just something that can occupy a kid for like a day or more. Here are the speeder bike vehicles, one of the breakout pieces of iconography from Return of the Jedi. Really awesome. I had one as a kid, and of course there was a button on the back that it would break apart in three pieces. This piece, and the seat that they'd sit on. So pretty awesome. These came on and off of this part here, but mine stayed on pretty firmly. You can take apart one of these shields here and make it look a bit more stealthy, but it didn't matter. It stood on its own, which is pretty cool. It had the little cannon from the movie underneath, and you can even mount a figure on it, and these stands would still stay in place, and it looked like the film. It looked like they were sitting on top of it like in the movie. Pretty awesome. Here's a Y-Wing fighter. They were featured at the end of Return of the Jedi. This is pretty awesome stuff. This was motorized. It would like weave about. This looked incredible up close. I never had one as a kid, but I bought one recently, maybe a few years ago, in the box. And you have to put it together. You have to put these things together. You see all the pieces here, but it is incredible. The cockpit is amazing, and you can actually fit an R2 unit into here, as opposed to the X-Wing fighters where they molded R2 into it. But all these pieces, of course, probably missing when you buy one. This is usually assembled, but there's other small pieces probably missing. The cannon's sometimes missing. The B-Wing fighter is another incredible vehicle from Return of the Jedi. And I know in Rebels, I think Season 2 or something like that, they explain the intricacies and functionality of this vehicle. This was cool in that this cockpit would stay in place as you rotate this around. That was the gimmick. And that was really neat. So you can, like, carry this around like a javelin over your shoulder and then like twirl it around, and this cockpit would always stay like centered and focused, in theory. Here's another example of a mini rig desert sail skiff that looks like it could have been in the movie because it's a scaled down version of what you saw in the movie. So it's basically those Jabba sail barge skiff things, but scaled down. And there's a version of this, or something that looks like a version of this in the intro of Droids. I don't think that was on purpose. I just think that was coincidental. But I like this little canopy here, the red sailing canopy. And this mini rig, the Endor Forest Ranger, of course, doesn't feature in Return of the Jedi, but this looks like something that could be in the prequel movies because of its like round shape here. But it's a one-man thing. You hear Han Solo is boarding it, and you can drive around, shoot things. We're getting into the Ewok vehicles and accessories, the Ewok assault catapult. So, unlike, of course, anything else in Star Wars, this is all very primitive with sticks and stones, literally, plastic boulders, plastic wood, and it's basically a catapult, and you can actually catapult this boulder. And here's the Ewok combat glider from some sort of skins of whatever they hunt. The design of this looks incredible because this looks like the thing from the movie. The shape of the wings and everything. And of course, I don't know how you're gliding with these boulders, but like you drop the boulders on guys. There's a lot to the physics of the Ewoks that didn't make any sense. You just had to roll with it. Like how are they able to strangle the stormtroopers with their boas if the stormtroopers have armor? Like what kind of armor is that? Here's the big price point vehicle of Return of the Jedi, the Imperial Shuttle, which looked to scale, and you can even fit like guys in the back, and you can have dudes in the front driving it. Amazing, very, very massive. It's funny because all it does is just like it literally shuttles guys. It's just a taxi. But what's featured a lot in Return of the Jedi, it's one of the first things you see in that movie. Had this fun sound effect. This vehicle is incredible. But it's like kind of bigger than the other vehicles, even though in the movie it wouldn't have been. Here's another 1984 Jabba the Hutt dungeon. And this one has a slight recolor. Yeah, and it's got, like, here they're featuring different characters that were later releases. Animaniman, right? I always get that man confused. And Barada, the missing piece of Klaatu Barada Nikto, and the dungeon droid from Return of the Jedi. They released a lot of carrying cases back then. You've seen the Chewie bandolier. You've seen the many tray cases. You've seen the Darth Vader case and the C-3PO case. Here is a laser rifle case. It's like all their ideas that they've been like sitting on for Star Wars and Empire. Now they're coming home to roost with Return of the Jedi. So here's a laser rifle carrying case. You can roleplay it with it like a laser rifle, but also you could shove guys in there as well. Pretty great toy. Here's the famous Rancor monster. And what I remember about this is that you can actually fit a character in his mouth. The mouth opens. Or in his claw as well. Great, like, to scale figure where you could just, like, pick up guys and stuff. I know some people are like, oh, it could have been bigger, I guess. But, like, it's effective. And it's effective for, like, packaging it and putting it on a shelf as well. Here's the TIE Interceptor, and here's a picture of all the different TIE fighters. The regular fighter, the battle-damaged one, TIE Interceptor, Darth Vader's TIE fighter. These were always great. They looked incredible. And yeah, of course you could fit a guy in here. You lift this lid. Here's the Ewok Battle Wagon. This is a fun toy. You could fit a lot of Ewoks on it. You could have someone pilot it. I don't know how you're piloting this thing. This is all the things it came with. It even came with a little ladder to get up top here. You can even take this apart and make a little fort with a little like cell for prisoners. And there's some string. Of course, this thing was reused also for the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves toy line that Kenner did. So that was Power of the Force. This is also Power of the Force. Power of the Force, of course, was the toy line that they put after Return of the Jedi to try and extend and put more figures and vehicles into the mix. This is the Imperial Sniper, little small mini rig, lower price point item. And one more skimmer with the same color scheme in that red sail. The one-man sand skimmer. This is very small. I don't know how much these were. at the time. Here's a security scout, a body rig you can attach to a character. Here's some Power of the Force, more Power of the Force stuff. This is adding on to the Jabba the Hutt stuff. Now, I have a Return of the Jedi Kenner catalog. I don't know what that came with, but I had it as a kid. And I remember this being featured in it, but they didn't show the toy. They just showed a scene from the movie. And there's a little... I remember reading this as a kid. And learning the intricacies, I guess, of the industry, because there's a little bit of write up in the picture that said, actual model not available or something like that. So it's like, oh, they haven't even made the thing yet. Pretty cool. This is where Luke basically kills everybody and scuffles a bit with Boba Fett in the movie. We're getting into the 1985 droids vehicles. So they made some vehicles for droids, not the obvious ones, because in droids the first story was about not exactly a pod race, but like something like it, where they're racing in vehicles. And I don't think they made those. You could try and say this is one, but they made an A-wing fighter. That's cool. And ever since then they've been popping out A-wing fighters that basically are this mold. I remember there was one for The Last Jedi. So this is a really neat vehicle. And the ATL Interceptor was a little mini rig, I guess. So a lower price point droids vehicle. And last but not least, the Side Gunner. And once again, none of this is really featured in the droids cartoon. But it seems like this is just stuff they had on the drawing board for Star Wars, and they just said, let's just release it with the droids cartoon. The thing about the droids cartoon was that it was the most like Star Wars to me, because it took place in space and had spaceships and robots, whereas the Ewoks cartoon was just all Ewoks and weird stuff. So it makes sense that if they had stuff on the drawing board for vehicles for Star Wars they hadn't released, they just just ship them out with the droid stuff. But this is cool. You could put a guy on the side and he swivels to the side and shoots guys, I guess. And that's it for this book and our trip down memory lane for the Star Wars figures. Here's a bibliography of all the different research that Mark Bellomo did. And here's more books put out by Krause Publications. And that's our trip down the Kenner Classic Star Wars lines, 1977 to 85. I hope you enjoyed us going through this book and going through memory lane with these figures and vehicles and toys. Till next time, take care.